Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Not long after getting back on track, train passengers are facing another setback. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Train service is still on hold between San Diego and Orange counties, a day after dirt and debris fell on the tracks in San Clemente. KPBS reporter John Carroll says the question of when it will be running again is up in the air.
The folks who work at Casa Romantica Cultural Center and Gardens in San Clemente noticed cracks in their patio a couple of weeks ago. Then, yesterday afternoon, it let loose, sending dirt and debris downhill, some of it landing on the track. And those tracks that had only been open for a little less than 2 weeks after being closed for about 8 months were closed again.
Currently, all rail movement is stopped through that corridor.
Scott Johnson is a spokesman for Metrolink. They operate commuter trains north of Oceanside where the coaster ends. Metrolink is taking the lead in getting out information about the closure. But as to when the tracks will open again?
We wish we had a clear and defined timeline. Unfortunately, we don't.
At downtown's Santa Fe Depot, people were still getting on the coaster. But Amtrak's Surfliner, that's another story. In fact, if you were a Surfliner passenger planning to go anywhere today, you were out of luck. A ticket agent inside Santa Fe Depot told me that no trains were leaving San Diego at all, which led to a kind of rare, interesting sight here. 1, 2, 3 Surfliner trains, all stuck right here in San Diego. The message about the pausing of Surfliner service seemed to have reached some passengers. There were very few at this historic station, and the ones we talked to were only there for the coaster. A different story at the Old Town Transit Center. We found 2 passengers waiting for the Surfliner. Maria Torres had just heard her train was not going to arrive.
Well, I've been waiting for the Amtrak. But everybody's saying that they're not running today, and I already had my ticket.
I had to break the bad news to Rosalind Cacho. Surfliner isn't coming.
My God, I have a round-trip ticket here, and they never notified me.
It's unclear whether Amtrak has restarted its bus service between Oceanside and Irvine. We've put links on our website where you can get much more information. But for now, the closure of the second busiest passenger rail corridor in the country that we thought was behind us is messing up travel plans once again. John Carroll, KPBS News.
A positive update for passengers who rely on MTS bus lines. As we previously reported, some drivers went on strike this week amid contract negotiations with operator First Transit. In a tweet this morning, MTS says as of now, all bus service is running as scheduled. However, negotiations are still ongoing. Riders can get the most up-to-date information on the MTS Alerts and Detours webpage. A civil defense attorney is weighing in on the decision to unseal videos of the alleged rape of a teenage girl by former San Diego State football players. KPBS reporter Alexander Nguyen has the update.
Judge Jeffrey Frazier, in his decision to unseal the video clips, also stayed his ruling for 2 weeks to give the city attorney and police time to appeal. The video clips, about 9 in all, were cell phone clips, including from the alleged victim's phone, and clips posted to Snapchat. Dick Simergian, Matt Ariza's attorney, says the videos will prove that his client was not in the room when the alleged assault happened.
We believe that they, in fact, will not only exonerate Matt Ariza because we have cell phone data that he was not there at the time, but secondly, that there was no sexual action that was objected to by the alleged victim.
The alleged victim accused Ariza and 2 others of raping her at a house party in October 2021. The clips show her engaging in sexual acts with several men. The city's attorney's office argued in court yesterday the clips are considered child pornography and police are not allowed to share them. Dan Gillian, attorney for the now 18-year-old woman, argued the same. In a statement to KPBS, he says Jane Doe supports the release of any records except for the child pornography Matt Ariza is seeking.
It's not child pornography. That's an inflammatory word that they're trying to use to suppress that evidence.
Brian Watkins is a civil defense attorney. He has no connection to the case. He says this evidence may help Ariza as well as 2 other men.
The evidence of rape is the lack of consent, and the evidence shows that she did in fact consent to whatever actions did occur, and the fact that Matt Ariza was not even present is even stronger for Matt Ariza's case.
Last December, the DA's office declined to file charges against the 3 men, citing a lack of evidence. Just because the judge unsealed the videos does not mean that the public or the media will be able to view them, nor does that mean that the defense will be able to use them in the civil trial. The judge in the case will need to make that determination. In downtown San Diego, Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
The mental health of children was one casualty of COVID-19. Students have struggled to catch up as they try to return to some kind of routine in their schoolwork. KPBS education reporter MG Perez tells us about a new effort to help them.
This help comes with a whisper. Help also comes with a liquid timer or quiet time, putting together a puzzle with friends who know what you're going through.
Yeah, it's always good to talk to a friend. It's nice to have friends because you know that you're not alone. You have people to talk to. And like you can connect with someone that might be feeling the same way as you.
The Wellness Room here at Black Mountain Middle School in Rancho Penasquitos is the largest in the Poway Unified District. It's designed as a safe space for any of the 1,100 students on campus to stop by and take a break.
It has weight on it. It helps them calm down. It's a therapeutic bear.
Rosalinda Koch is the student services specialist who runs the Wellness Room. She has created this calming corner with tools and toys funded by a new $7 million state grant that will pay for mental health programs over the next 4 years.
It's just important to listen to them to see what their need is. Sometimes we have students that are not able to express verbally how they're feeling.
The grant money to support these students is coordinated with help from the San Diego County Office of Education. It is a direct attempt to prevent and eliminate student suicides.
Mental health and suicide ideation are on the rise for all of our kids.
Heather Namor is leading the county's plans for spending this grant money and supporting school districts that need guidance.
They all say we don't have enough mental health professionals, and frankly, they never will. What's really critical and what the research shows is that school climate is very much connected to mental health and wellness for students.
The grant is just getting started, and it will benefit many more campuses than just Black Mountain Middle School. There are 470 schools across the county that will receive funding for mental health programs. That means more wellness rooms working for student well-being.
I've come here to calm down or just help with the anxiety.
That's help that is more than a whisper.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
MG Perez, KPBS News.
Tomorrow, the San Diego Padres play the San Francisco Giants in Mexico City in the first ever Major League Baseball series in the Mexican capital during the regular season. And as KPBS reporter Jacob Ayers shows us, it's bringing out fans from both sides of the border.
We're here at El Zócalo, the cultural heart of Mexico City. This area of Mexico's capital is just a small part of one of the largest cities in the world. Over 1,500 miles away from San Diego and Tijuana, it looks and feels different here than our cross-border region. From the architecture to the high-altitude environment to the fast-paced lifestyle of the many people living here. Now, this skyscraping mega metropolis is set to put the San Diego Padres on the biggest stage they've ever had south of the U.S. border. There's already a lot of festivities and decorations set for this weekend's matchup. But ahead of Saturday and Sunday's games in Mexico's capital city, the Padres took time to connect with the local youth from the town to teach them a thing or two about the fundamentals of baseball.
I feel really good because it's like a dream with me because I really like the San Diego team.
Our favorite player is Juan Soto.
And Tatis Jr. is super player, is a super player.
Padres star third baseman Manny Machado was one of the players at the clinic, showing the kids some tips. He explains what this event and the series means to him.
What all these players came out here today to do and give these kids just, a little bit of time, I think this is going to go a long way just for not just these kids, but everybody in this whole country. I think we're doing big things in baseball, and, this is just the beginning of, special things to come.
After spending an hour of their Friday afternoon at the youth baseball clinic, the team headed over to their temporary home stadium. It's a ballpark with deep ties to San Diego. It was built by and named after Padres minority owner Alfredo Harpelu, says Padres CEO Eric Grupner.
This is the second time we'll be playing in his beautiful estadio. It opened for the first time 3 years ago, and we helped inaugurate it 4 years ago with a minor league game. So we're just excited to be with Alfredo, play in his beautiful stadium, and hopefully get a couple wins against the Giants.
It's also the home stadium for the Mexico Baseball League's Diablos Rojos team. Miguel Ojeda is the sports director for the Mexico City squad and a former Padre himself.
There's a lot of connections, and to me, having that opportunity to represent Diablos and represent San Diego Padres once, that's priceless.
And it's here at Estadio Alfredo Harpelu where the San Diego Padres will take on the San Francisco Giants here this Saturday and Sunday. Fans from the U.S. and Mexico will cram into this stadium, which sits roughly 20,000 people on each day. This series, the first of its kind, is expected to further strengthen the Padres' influence south of the U.S. border. Reporting from Mexico City, Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
And Jacob Ayer and video journalist Matt Buller will be with the Padres through the weekend. Keep an eye for updates at kpbs.org. You can also follow KPBS on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok as we post more Padres content from Mexico City. A state treasure is celebrating its 100th birthday. The Ramona Outdoor Play. It's a story of early California and the suffering of indigenous people. KPBS reporter Kitty Alvarado tells us while it may be 100 years old, its message is timeless.
Every year, more than 300 volunteers of all colors, backgrounds, and ages come together to travel back in time. The late 1800s, when local Native people weren't treated as though they were created equal. But this is no ordinary play or love story. It's a saga set in the days when Temecula belonged to the native Luiseño people. On this day, nearly 4,000 fourth graders are getting their history lesson at Hemet's Natural Amphitheater that was once a sacred Native American site.
This is a tradition for over 60 years. We have a special performance for the fourth graders of the Hemet San Jacinto Valley. They're studying California history.
Dennis Anderson is the artistic director of the Ramona Outdoor Play. He tells us it's not only the official play of California.
It is the longest running outdoor drama in the history of the United States, April 1923 to April 2023.
The play is based on the novel Ramona by Helen Hunt Jackson. It intertwines fictional elements with the real horrors of history. The eviction and razing of a native Luiseño village in Temecula at the hands of a posse riding with the sheriff of San Diego County.
Even the graveyard in Temecula has been destroyed.
And these are images of the real Ramona. She was captured weeping at the grave of her husband, Juan Diego. He was murdered for stealing a horse. Like many locals, Anderson's family has made the play a family tradition for 3 generations.
My family moved here in 1956, and my dad was in the chorus by April, and it became part of our life every spring. It's made me, I won't say a better person, but I understand much more the terrible suffering of Native Americans.
And that's why almost 50 bird singers and native dancers, mostly from local tribal bands, come together to perform in the show.
It's an honor to come here.
Bird singer Steve Alvarez says their performance sends a message to those who witnessed the rituals handed down for generations.
And this play gives us a chance for our native voice to come out and show people that we're native and no matter what we were through, that we're still strong and we're still here.
Ruth Duran was born and raised in Hemet. She has deep roots in the ancient land.
My great-great-great-great-grandmother was one of the first Indians on the reservation.
Her family has been a part of this play for over a decade.
That's Alexis Lopez, and then her son was the little one in the green.
But this year, she was opposite the stage and part of the staff who came with a 4th grade class. She hopes this living history lesson inspires them to live its message. And she was encouraged by the reactions during the play.
Wow, they got it. Because they're like, wow, the Indians were treated bad. We didn't know that.
Kayla Contreras has played Ramona for 6 seasons and grew up in Hemet. When she watched the show as a child, she knew she was destined to play Ramona.
And I immediately was drawn to the story, the character, and I told my mom, I said, hey, I'm going to do that one day.
For Contreras, this is more than a performance. It's something she feels in her soul and transcends time.
I can completely take some of those lines out of the show, out of context from the historical aspect of it, but really just feel it here and be like, it's still going on. It's still happening.
I want them all dead. Every white man on this earth dead!
And Eli Santana, who plays Alessandro, is a proud 2nd-generation Mexican-American. He grew up in northern San Diego County. He recently discovered his native roots.
To hear that it came from something and it meant something, and that just growing up in this area was it was just amazing, and I felt like part of something bigger than me.
He says Ramona's message is universal and somehow remains relevant 100 years later.
We're going to do a time capsule for 100 years, and I hope that it's going just as strong. But hopefully it was. It's more of a reminder of when people were less tolerant and not something that is ringing true.
This is about love. It's about Ramona's love for her husband, for her baby, for her people. There's a very serious message, and there's a kind of a tragic ending. But this is California.
Kitty Alvarado, KPBS News.
90 local veterans are on the journey of a lifetime. Honor flight took off from San Diego International for Washington, D.C. today. The vets were greeted by crowds of people, from airport employees to members of the San Diego Fire Department. And once inside, they were treated to breakfast and given a chance to catch up with each other.
This is exciting. It is. I've been looking forward for this. It's been in my bucket list for a long time.
Get a chance to be with other veterans a lot. So we'll just have all kinds of fun.
And if you'd like to show your appreciation to these veterans, hundreds are expected to greet them when they get back Sunday afternoon. They'll gather at the baggage claim area around 1 p.m. May is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and as KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne shows us, the celebration is kicking off tomorrow in Oceanside.
With over 20 Asian and Pacific Islander cultures being represented during the community event, organizers say there's definitely new things to learn.
Not everybody understands what happens with our culture. Sometimes they do know the food and they know some of our performances, but we wanted to enhance that and just give an opportunity for those that don't know to be able to be educated.
Kevin Shin owns the Switchboard restaurant in downtown Oceanside, a Hawaiian and Korean fusion eatery. After the city was named one of California's cultural districts, Shin knew it was the right place for the first SoCal Asian and Pacific Islander Festival.
It's just such a beautiful thing to be able to showcase the diversity that we really do have, and highlighting all of the different cultures that we do have here in North County.
Ilima Martinez is the festival co-director and founder of Umeke, a nonprofit organization dedicated to the education of Hawaiian culture. She is also a hula instructor, and her halau or hula school will be a part of the event entertainment. But the festival isn't limited to North County. Partners from all over San Diego will be joining, like JJ Jones, the head instructor of Honu Sumo in City Heights. He says that when it comes to sumo wrestling, there's some misconceptions he hopes to unveil.
There are women, there are weight divisions, and I just want to educate to make sure like the art and the sport are both celebrated together.
And that's the focus of the event, to educate the wider community.
It's literally all the different martial arts, all the different style of dancing, all the different languages, the games.
An opportunity Jones says he wished he saw more of while growing up.
So if you have children, you should bring them to this free event where they can learn about cultures from around the world.
The event will be held at the Oceanside Civic Center from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. There will be activities for the youngest and oldest in the family, and more details can be found on our website. Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
Taking a look at our weather headlines here as conditions stay cool along the coast, but boy, has it been warm inland, and that's the pattern that we will still be dealing with for most of the weekend before a major pattern shift is on the way. We're talking breezier conditions, we're talking cooler conditions, and we're talking about precip moving in again as we head into next week. So if you've been a fan of the dry, warmer things, you'll like the pattern here leading into tonight and through the weekend, where Oceanside drops down to 55, San Diego down to 58, Chula Vista you'll drop to 56, Borrego Springs only down to 70, and Mount Laguna a low of 56. So why have we been so warm? Well, we've been dealing with this ridging pattern here, and that has been setting us up with temperatures anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees above our historical averages. We're going to continue with this pattern through Saturday. That has been seeing a lot of that rapid snow melt and those rising river levels, and really we haven't seen much in the way of any precip, and that's going to be the pattern here through the start of our weekend, where temperatures will be into the mid-60s tomorrow for Oceanside, San Diego with sunshine at 69, Chula Vista to 70, and another triple-digit day for Borrego Springs up to 100 degrees. But I mentioned the pattern change on the way as we head into next week, and you can see what we call a mega block. It takes the sign of the Greek letter there, omega, and we're seeing where that ridge has been for us is now shifting to the center part of the country, and that brings us a dip in the jet stream, so a cooler, wetter pattern on the way as we head into early May. That shows up nicely here. Look at that. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday along the coast, you see the rainy, cooler conditions. Taking a look at your 5-day outlook inland, we do have the cloudier conditions sticking around on Monday, and temperatures only on the 60s for Tuesday and Wednesday. As we look into the mountains, temperatures only into the 30s and 40s for next week, and into the desert, we will cool things down as we start next week. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Ariella Scalise.
Bed Bath & Beyond announced this week that it will shut down unless someone steps in to buy the company. SDSU's Miro Kopik tells us what this means for shoppers in the Friday Business Report.
There's 360 stores nationally, along with 120 Bye Bye Baby stores that they own as a company, and 4 here in San Diego. In San Diego, we had 7 stores as of about 2 months ago. 3 have already closed. These 4 stores will continue to remain open, and they're spread throughout the county all the way through the end of June. So there will be no more Bed Bath & Beyond by June 30th if they can't find a buyer. What does that mean for consumers around the country and in San Diego? First and foremost, operations will continue as normal, both in the stores and online. As of Wednesday, they stopped taking any of those famous blue coupons of 10 or 20% off because right now the pricing has been adjusted to reflect the bankruptcy. So you're going to see big discounts on all the inventory in a Bed Bath & Beyond. So they're not going to take coupons. So Bed Bath & Beyond is really kind of on the clock right now, or else we may see them for the last time here in San Diego.
And if you've been holding on to Bed Bath & Beyond coupons, don't toss them out just yet. Big Lots and the Container Store are accepting those 20% off coupons for a limited time. And Big Lots shoppers can use it toward total purchases of at least $50 through May 7th. And you can use it to get 20% off a single item at the Container Store through the end of May. If you're looking for a new series to watch this weekend, Dead Ringers is now streaming. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando recommends the reimagining of an 80s movie with a gender flip.
As a fan of David Cronenberg, and especially of his 1988 film Dead Ringers, I approached the new Amazon Studios remake with trepidation. But to my surprise and delight, the Dead Ringers show, conceived by star Rachel Weisz and showrunner Alice Birch, is exactly what a remake should be. A bold reimagining that reveals a new perspective. The body horror is still there, but now it's about making women's bodies visible in new ways. The Mantle twins are now female obstetricians as well as gynecologists. Beverly is dedicated to the idea of creating a new kind of birthing center, and Elliot is focused on radical and potentially unethical research in the area of treating infertility. Movies love to show us adorable babies, but not graphic images of how they are born.
As soon as we knew that they would work in obstetrics, then I think we knew that we were going to be depicting childbirth, and it was just about what was interesting to us. Like you said, I've never really seen that on screen, and so I felt interested too.
Playing the dual role of Elliot and Beverly Mantle provided Weisz with the kind of challenge actors love to sink their teeth into.
The writing was a real gift in that it was the characters were written on the page with such psychological complexity and depth and humanness, and they were flawed and brilliant and dysfunctional. There were so many words that I could use to describe them both, and they were both completely different to the other, and yet totally dependent on the other. So it was very, very rich food and brilliant writing for my imagination.
All 6 episodes of Dead Ringers are currently streaming on Prime Video and well worth checking out, even if you were a fan of Cronenberg's original. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Have a good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following: by viewers like you. Thank you.